Welcome to this special broadcast. It's day 2 of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Israel and India today. As always, keeping you ahead on what happened.
Welcome, my friend.
Much has been spoken about the importance of this visit by Prime Minister Modi to Israel, but on day 2 the message was loud and clear. There will be zero tolerance of terror of any kind. Not only did the joint statement talk about terror outfits, but also those who shelter them, encourage them and fund them.
Unmatched chemistry. From the moment Prime Minister Modi stepped off Air India One, right into a bear hug with his Israeli counterpart. 22 hours later, the first real dividend of the heightened Indo-Israeli friendship, a subtle yet significant joint message to the world's terrormongers from two leaders dealing more with terror today than any other. In a strong statement, the two nations, the biggest victims of terror, announced a new initiative to jointly combat terrorism. This would involve a crackdown on terror mentors and terror sanctuaries.
As such, we must resolutely oppose the evils of terrorism, radicalism, and violence of our time.
We also recognize that we are being challenged. We're being challenged by the forces of terror that seeks to undermine our world, our countries, the peace and stability of our common civilization. And we have agreed to cooperate in this area as well.
The other big takeaway, a big boost in joint development of defense products, including technology transfer from Israel with an emphasis on Make in India.
Our goal is to build a relationship that reflects our shared priorities and draws on enduring bonds between our peoples.
A total of 7 agreements were signed after 2 hours of one-to-one and delegation-level meets. These ranged from deals for water conservation to the cleaning of the Ganga to 3 space agreements. With the official talks over, focus now shifts to trade and investment, with top tycoons from both sides set to meet the two prime ministers tomorrow. With Padmaja Joshi in Jerusalem, Bureau Report, India Today.
Father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi famously said, "An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind." But that phrase got another spin, another meaning altogether when Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was meeting the Israeli president, where he said that the message he comes with is eye for eye, India for Israel.
India admires the success of your people in overcoming adversity to advance, innovate and flourish against all odds. Our goal is to build a relationship that reflects our shared priorities and draws on enduring bonds between our peoples. Friends, India and Israel live in complex geographies. We are aware of strategic threats to regional peace and stability. India has suffered first-hand the violence and hatred spread by terror. So as Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu and I agreed to do much more together to protect our strategic interests.
We understood very well your thoughts about the need to have partners who will make in India, because the first thing that the leaders of Israel at the time, at the beginning of the state of Israel as a new state in 1948, we thought that we should produce everything in Israel. And made in Israel was one of the greatest ideas and one of the most important tasks. And we understand that very well, and we are doing a lot in order to fulfill your ideas about Make in India. I only suggested that there are some projects that maybe we can do Make with India.
Aside of the serious business, if there's anything that has caught everyone's eye, is the serious bromance between Prime Minister Modi and his Israeli counterpart. From the hugs to the handshakes to the special message to Mere Achhe Dost Modi.
Prime Minister Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister ever to visit Israel, and none other than his Israeli counterpart was there at the airport to receive him, breaking protocol. It's an honor that was earlier given only to the US President Donald Trump and the Pope, and it began with a hug, the first of many.
Great day, historic day. Welcome, my friend.
The occasion was historic, the camaraderie obvious, and it was full of symbolism. Prime Minister dressed in white and blue, the colors of Israel's flag. Israeli Prime Minister welcomed Prime Minister Modi in a gracious speech.
Aapka suhaget hai, mere dost.
היסטורי וראשון של ראש ממשלה של הודו בישראל.
Thank you.
And then there was hug number 2. Dear friend Modi thanked the Israeli Prime Minister for the red carpet welcome.
Shalom, Lekram, Anisemia Mayod, Lehiat Po. I want to thank my friend Prime Minister Netanyahu for the invitation.
Welcome speech is done, and it was time for hug number 3.
Hanachat Hazer.
Dear friends, Netanyahu and Modi then paid their respects at a Holocaust memorial. But it was not all serious business. The Prime Minister had a variety of the chrysanthemum flower named after him. And obviously, there were more hugs to follow.
Welcome, friend.
The Prime Minister gave his Israeli counterpart 2 relics and a Torah scroll, and he received a painting depicting Indian soldiers leading a British military column in Jerusalem in 1917.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shalom.
Thank you, and I accept.
Day 2 of the Prime Minister's visit meant, you guessed it, more hugs. This historic trip has it all: hugs, handshakes and gifts. And move over Obama and Trudeau, there's a new bromance in town. Bureau Report, India Today.
Dear Mr. Modi, I love you. It was with that message that little baby Moshe, now a 10-year-old boy, went to meet the Indian Prime Minister. And the gesture was reciprocated with PM Modi saying that the doors of India would always be open to the boy who was a survivor of one of the worst terror attacks that India has experienced.
My name is Moshe Holtzberg, the son of Rabbi Gabi and Rivki Holtzberg. I am 11. They are sent by Lubavitch. I am 11 years old. I was saved by my very special Nani Sandra. May God bless them. My parents lived in Mumbai.
You're Indian nanny.
My parents lived in Mumbai. They help every person, Jewish and not Jewish, alike. The house was open to everyone. I now live in Israel with my grandparents, Rabbi Shimon and Judith Rosenberg, in their house in the city of Afula. I may want to bless my grandparents for my father, Rabbi Nachman and Frida Holtzberg. I am an happy child, thank God. And I love to play. I try to be a good student. I would like to wish you Amara Shirwad, Abki Sat Hebot, Radan, Matri Renge, Salotak. I will be able to visit Mumbai. And when I get older, I live there. I will be the director of our Chabad house. With God's help, this is my house, an house of goodness. Dear Mr. Modi, I love you, and your people in India.
So, would you like to come and stay in India and Mumbai? You are most welcome. You and your all family members, they will get a long-term visa from my government. So any time you can come, anywhere you can go.
Thank you.
Moshe, you know the Prime Minister of India is coming. Would you like to say something to him, Mr. Modi?
I like him.
What do you like to say to him?
I love him.
You love Mr. Modi. Why is that?
Because if for so much people is there in India and he come to me.
Of all the people that are there in India, he has come here especially to meet you. Moshe, tell me, do you remember your time in India?
Do you remember Sonuman?
No.
But you still remember a little bit of language that you learned or anything that you learned in India?
Yes.
Yes.
What? Numbers.
Numbers.
Only numbers. Hindi numbers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, and you're 10 years old now. Any time that you want to maybe go back, just the time that you spend there, anything at all that you want to go back to India and remember?
I want to go back to India.
Yes. For my command? Yeah,
for my Nariman house.
To the Nariman house.
To be the rabbi.
To be the rabbi.
Like my parents, my father.
Like my parents, my father.
You will go back to Nariman house like your parents?
Yeah.
India and Israel are two countries who breathe the air of freedom practically together. Yet it was much later that they established formal diplomatic ties. So the process that was initiated in 1992 by then Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao is now seeing a culmination in this landmark visit by Prime Minister Modi. How has the friendship and the relationship between these two close partners evolved over the years?
A few decades back, it would have been impossible to see an Indian Prime Minister breaking bread with Israeli leadership. Its commitment to the cause of Palestine looked irrevocable.
What a great day. Historic day. Welcome, my friend.
The beer hug was reserved for Yasser Arafat, the Palestinian leader despised by Israel. But the differences between India and Israel had more to do with ideology. India, itself a victim of imperialism, had opposed Palestine's partition in 1947. When the deed was done, Nehru government recognized the state of Israel, but did not establish full diplomatic ties. India, then a young nation, pursued the non-allied movement. Among the torchbearers of the movement was Gamal Abdel Nasser, the president of Egypt and a rival of Israel. The Six-Day War in 1967, which saw Israel seize control of the Gaza Strip, the West Bank and Eastern Jerusalem, reduced thousands of Palestinians to refugees. The gulf between India and Israel widened. India had other reasons as well to keep distance. Its centuries-old trade links with Arab nations and the presence of thousands of Indian expats who gained employment in the Middle East after the oil boom. India crossed the Rubicon in 1992 when P.V. Narasimha Rao established diplomatic ties with Israel. Since then, many Indian delegations have visited Israel, including its president. But Narendra Modi is the first Prime Minister to do so, visiting Tel Aviv in the 50th anniversary year of the Six-Day War famously won by Israel against Arab nations. Is it a sign that Palestine is no longer India's cause? Bureau Report, India Today.
So far you've heard about the extensive wish list that Prime Minister Modi is carrying to Israel and about what Israel can do for India. But the fact is that Israel is equally eager for forging strong ties with India. What does it stand to gain? Watch this report.
My friend Prime Minister Narendra Modi, welcome to Israel. Aapka suhagat hai, mere dost.
A welcome most effusive, unrestrained hugs, the red carpet rolled out. The entire Israeli cabinet in attendance at Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion airport, all for an Indian Prime Minister's first visit to the Holy Land.
India not only needs Israel, but Israel too needs India. Israel may not need India for technology-related issues, but Prime Minister Modi's visit to Israel signifies the end of a reluctance to engage Israel even more. And that perhaps is the greatest takeaway for Israel. For it is also a signal to the countries across the world that Israel is now perhaps more acceptable.
Israel is a tiny country, half the size of Kerala. Its population is even smaller, just 82 lakh. Half that of Delhi. 75% of that population is Jewish and the rest mostly Arab. Just like India, Israel is a parliamentary democracy with an elected prime minister and a figurehead president. Interestingly, Israel got independence from the British just 9 months after India. Their economy is a fraction of India's, but the average income in Israel is 22 times that of an Indian. Israel has two national symbols. One is the Star of David, the other a menorah. But the problem? Israel's location. It is surrounded by extremely hostile Arab nations. India is literally the closest geographical ally that Israel has. With ties spanning across defense and trade, China too enjoys close relations with Tel Aviv. Russia is more guarded. The two were on opposing sides in previous wars, with Russia supporting the Arab allies. The European Union remains divided on Israel, but Britain is a very close ally. The staunchest partner is, however, the United States, which has stood by Israel through thick and thin. But the biggest takeaway for Tel Aviv is India's dehyphenation of Palestine with Israel. All earlier visits by Indian leaders were accompanied with a politically correct visit to Palestine as well. Not this time.
It is fairly common in Israel to come across people who have at some point in their life visited India. Goa and Manali especially being preferred destinations. So, while Prime Minister Modi is in Israel, we caught up with a few of Israeli tourists back home in India, in Kasol, and this is why they are quite excited.
The red carpet rolled out for Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Ben Gurion airport in Tel Aviv, even as the entire Israeli cabinet came out to welcome Modi. There is enthusiasm in the hills of Himachal as well. This little community in Himachal is high on hopes and celebration. Kasol is also known as Mini Israel on account of the number of Israeli tourists who are tucked in here. Modi's first visit from Israel has sent a wave of excitement among them.
Actually, I'm really excited that the Prime Minister of India come to Israel, because the Israel and the Indian people are so connected. Even the Israeli come here and the Indian people come to Israel, and there is a good connection between all of us.
The Israeli youth usually come here after their mandatory 2-year stint in the Israeli army, attracted by rich natural beauty and the thrift.
The visit of Prime Minister Modi to Israel is very important to the relations between the two countries. India is the biggest democracy in the world, and it's very important that these two countries will have strong relationship and work together.
I hope that after the visit, maybe the relationship between India and Israel will be more good, because now I travel like a month in India and I feel at home, and I'm really sure that he will feel at home, and together the same relationship will be good, like here.
Israeli tourists who visit Himachal in large numbers are hopeful that Prime Minister Modi's visit and friendly relations between the two countries would mean, in addition, facilities for them. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of this special broadcast. But before we go, we are going to leave you with some of the lighter moments from talk about yoga to the use of Hindi. Here's how this entire visit did have its lighter moments. This is Padmaja Joshi saying Shalom from Israel.
My friend Prime Minister Narendra Modi, welcome to Israel. Aapka suhagate.
I've been inspired by Prime Minister Modi's enthusiasm for yoga to begin. He said to me, you can start at a low level, choose your level. So I'm starting at a low level, and here's what we're going to do. When I do a relaxing Talasana pose, and in the morning, I'll turn my head to the right. India is the first democracy that I'll see. And when Prime Minister Modi does a relaxing pose of Vasishtasana, and he turns his head to the left, Israel is the first democracy that you can see. Almost 30 years ago, I went on a date in Tel Aviv in an Indian restaurant, and produced 2 fine children. The food was great. So yesterday, I asked Rina Pushkarna, who was the owner of that restaurant, to prepare this dinner for this date, and it was equally good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shalom.
Thank you, and I accept. This is a good day.